struggling to get your ideas heard, influence decisions, or command any room? In this video, grab the exact blueprint to think sharper, speak magnetically, and sway anyone, starting today. Welcome to Audiobook Journey, your masterclass in self-improvement audiobooks. Discover 3 game changers, razor-sharp thinking habits, words that captivate crowds, and invisible influence tactics pros use daily. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, then use the timestamps below to jump into any of the 12 chapters now. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, waves crashing with the power of unspoken dreams. You've got brilliant ideas swirling in your mind, but they crash silently against the shore of doubt. What if you could harness that power? Think with razor-sharp clarity, speak with magnetic fire, and influence lives like the greats who shaped history. This isn't just an audiobook, it's your secret weapon, your personal revolution. Welcome to How to Think, Speak, and Influence Like a Pro. Buckle up, my friend. Your transformation starts now. Chapter 1. Awakening the Architect Within. Imagine this. You're standing alone in a vast, echoing hall, its walls lined with mirrors that reflect not just your face, but every thought flickering through your mind. Some shine like beacons, brilliant ideas born of clarity and purpose. Others flicker dimly, tangled in shadows of doubt, distraction, and forgotten dreams. Right now, in this very moment, that hall is your mind. And most people wander through it, lost, bumping into walls they built themselves, never realizing they hold the key to reshape it all. What if I told you that the power to think like a pro isn't some rare gift reserved for geniuses or leaders? It's a skill you can awaken today, starting with the silent architecture of your own inner world. Feel that pull. That's your soul whispering. It's time to build. This chapter isn't about quick fixes or surface-level tricks. It's the foundation of everything we'll uncover together in this journey. How to think, speak, and influence like a pro. At its heart lies a profound truth. Your thoughts are the unseen architects of your reality. They design the life you live, the words you speak, the people you draw near. But here's the awakening. Most of us have let our minds become cluttered construction sites, overrun by noise from the world outside. Endless notifications pinging like hammers on steel, worries stacking like unfinished beams, regrets piling up like debris. We react, we drift, we second-guess, and in that chaos, our true potential lies buried. Picture a master architect standing before a blank canvas of sky and earth. She doesn't rush in with shovels and screams. No, she pauses, she envisions. Lines form in her mind, clean, deliberate strokes that will one day hold cathedrals reaching for the stars. That's the pro-thinker. Deliberate, visionary, unyielding. You, my friend, are that architect. Not tomorrow. Not after some seminar or book stack. Right now. The first step, reclaim your mental blueprint. Close your eyes for a breath. Feel the weight of all those scattered thoughts lifting as you decide. This is my space. I design it. Let me take you into a story that brings this alive. There was a man named Elias, a quiet engineer in a small coastal town, whose life felt like a storm-tossed ship. Every day he'd wake to a mind flooded with what-ifs. What if the project fails? What if the boss overlooks me? What if I'm not enough? His ideas, sharp as they were, drowned in that flood. He spoke in meetings with hesitation, his influence fading like mist at dawn. One evening, after another overlooked promotion, Elias sat by the sea, watching waves carve relentless patterns into rock. Why do they persist? He wondered. And in that question, his awakening began. The next morning, Elias did something radical. He cleared his desk, lit a single candle, and spent 10 minutes mapping his mind. Not with frantic lists, but with intention. He drew 3 columns on a blank page: chaos, clarity, creation. Under chaos, he poured every nagging thought, the bills, the grudges, the scrolling feeds that stole his focus. Then, with a deep breath, he crossed them out, one by one, whispering, "You no longer build here." In clarity, he named his anchors: family, health, the quiet joy of solving puzzles. And in creation, he sketched his vision, a bold project proposal that had simmered unspoken for years. No judgment, no rush, just design. That simple ritual became his daily rite. Within weeks, Alias's mind transformed from a wreck to a workshop. His thoughts sharpened. Hesitation melted into quiet command. In the next team meeting, he presented his proposal not as a plea, but as a blueprint: clear lines, unshakable structure. Heads turned. The room leaned in. The promotion? It came, but more than that, respect followed. Elias didn't change the world overnight. He changed his inner world first. And that's the lesson pulsing here for you. Thinking like a pro starts with auditing your mental estate. What are you allowing to construct your days? Now let's make this yours. Begin with the ritual of the 3 pillars. Every dawn, before the world intrudes, claim 15 minutes. Sit in stillness, perhaps with coffee steaming beside you, or the morning light filtering through a window. Pillar 1, chaos. Name it without mercy. That argument from yesterday replaying on loop. Label it, then release it like smoke from a fire. The fear of failure whispering you're too late. Acknowledge it, then dismantle it. You've built nothing here before. You build no more. Feel the space opening, light flooding in. Pillar 2, clarity. This is your compass. Ask, what truths anchor me? For Elias, it was the rhythm of the sea reminding him of persistence. For you, it might be the warmth of a loved one's laugh, or the thrill of a half-finished dream resurfacing. Anchor them vividly, write them, speak them aloud, let them become the bedrock, steady against any storm. And Pillar 3, creation. Here you dream boldly, not vague wishes but blueprints. I see myself leading that conversation with ease. I envision ideas flowing, connecting, igniting change. Draw it, speak it, feel it solidifying. But why does this work? Because pros understand a deep human truth. The mind craves order amid infinity. Without it, we fragment, thoughts splinter like glass under pressure. With it, we forge steel. Science whispers this too. In quiet studies on neural pathways, focused intention literally rewires the brain, pruning distractions, strengthening vision. Yet it's not cold logic, it's alive with emotion. Feel the liberation as chaos fades. That's your power stirring. Sense the expansion in clarity. That's your soul breathing free. And in creation, the quiet thrill of possibility. That's destiny knocking. Let this sink deep. As you practice, you'll notice ripples. Decisions quicken. Doubts quiet. Your inner voice, once a murmur, grows to a steady hum of authority. I recall a woman named Mira, a single mother juggling shifts and studies. Her mind was a whirlwind, guilt over missed bedtimes, anxiety over exams. She adopted the pillars, adapting them to stolen moments between laundry loads. Chaos, the voice saying I'll never catch up, she'd note, then cross it out. Clarity, her daughter's proud smile. Creation, acing that degree, opening doors for them both. Months later, not only did she graduate top of her class, but she began mentoring others, her words carrying the weight of one who thinks like a pro. Her transformation, it started in silence, in the architecture of her mind. Yet, this foundation demands honesty. Many resist at first, clinging to familiar clutter like old furniture in a cramped room. Why? Because chaos feels safe. It's known, but pros know better. They embrace the empty space, trusting it will fill with wonders. Challenge yourself. Tonight, before sleep, revisit your pillars. Let them be the last thoughts etching into your subconscious, building while you rest. As we stand here at the threshold of this chapter, feel the shift already underway. You've glimpsed the architect within, the one who designs not just thoughts, but destinies. This clarity you've begun to claim. It's the spark that ignites everything else. But thoughts alone, powerful as they are, remain locked within until given voice. What happens when that inner blueprint flows into words that move mountains? That's the fire we'll kindle next, in Chapter 2. Crafting words that echo forever. Turn the page with me. Your voice awaits. Chapter 2. Crafting words that echo forever. Picture a single arrow loosed from a bow in the dead of night, slicing through darkness to strike a distant flame. It doesn't roar or blaze, it simply flies true, igniting what it touches into an inferno that lights the entire valley. That's the power of words spoken like a pro. Not a thunderclap, but a precise spark that sets souls ablaze. You've built the inner architecture in Chapter 1. Now feel those thoughts surging toward your lips, ready to carve canyons in the world. What if the very next sentence you utter could shift a life, seal a destiny, or birth a movement? This is no mere skill. This is alchemy. Your voice, awakening. Welcome to the heart of our journey, where silent blueprints become symphonies. This chapter reveals the sacred craft of words that endure, not fleeting chatter, but echoes that resonate through time, touching generations yet unborn. Pros don't speak to fill silence. They speak to reshape realities. They know words are living forces, carriers of intention, bridges between one heart and another. You've felt it, a phrase from a loved one that mends a fracture, a stranger's encouragement that propels you forward. Now imagine wielding that force deliberately. Every syllable a brushstroke on the canvas of human connection. This is your invitation to become the arrow, the spark, the echo. At the core burns this truth. Great speakers master the rhythm of restraint. They understand that volume deceives, but depth captivates. Less is the secret weapon. Craft sentences like ancient blades, honed, balanced, lethal in their simplicity. Begin by embracing the pause, that golden breath between thoughts. It's not emptiness, it's potency building like storm clouds before rain. Practice speaking your truth in whispers first, letting the weight of meaning gather force. Feel it, your voice dropping lower, words landing heavier, listeners leaning closer, hungry for more. Let me draw you into the life of Clara, a librarian in a forgotten corner of the city, whose days blurred into stacks of silence. She devoured books, her mind a treasure trove. But when she spoke, at parent meetings, community gatherings, her words tumbled like loose pages in wind. Listeners glazed over, ideas vanished. One rainy afternoon, poring over tales of orators, Clara had her revelation. She stood before her mirror, not to shout affirmations, but to sculpt. Today, she whispered, holding the word until it vibrated, I choose presence. Then, a full story in 3 breaths. Setup, turn, revelation. No rush, just essence. That mirror became her forge. Nightly, she'd select one idea, a book insight, a personal truth, and distill it to its core flame. Not the storm that breaks us. She'd breathe, pausing as if tasting the air, but the calm eye that reveals our strength. Neighbors noticed first. Borrowing books turned to deep talks under street lamps. Then at a town hall facing budget cuts, threatening her library, Clara rose. No tirade. Choose this. Imagine our children, adrift without stories to anchor them. We've built this haven together. Let's echo its light into tomorrow. Silence fell, then applause thundered. The library survived, and Clara's voice became the town's quiet compass. Her transformation, words reborn from whispers. Now, claim this craft for yourself. Introduce the ritual of the Echo Forge. Each evening, light a candle or step into twilight. Choose 3 words, yes, just 3, that capture your day's deepest truth. Speak them slowly. First to the mirror, feeling their shape on your tongue. Second, an empty room, letting pauses weave power. Third, aloud to the night sky, releasing them to the universe. Gratitude, you might say, letting the tea linger like a heartbeat. Courage, connection, no more. Feel how they expand, filling spaces words once cluttered. Why does this forge such enduring speech? Because it honors the listener's soul. Speak as if addressing one heart at a time, even in crowds. They layer sound with soul, vary pitch like a musician, low for gravity, rising for revelation. Infuse warmth, that subtle undercurrent of care. I see you, your tone conveys before words land. And always, the art of the unfinished sentence. Trail off just enough to pull them in. What if your voice could change everything? They fill the gap, owning the idea. Science echoes this ancient wisdom. Studies on neural mirroring show how rhythmic, intentional speech synchronizes brains, speaker and listener pulsing as one. Emotion rides those waves. A heartfelt pause triggers trust hormones. A vivid image lights memory centers, but it's deeper still. A spiritual sync. Souls are tuning through sound. Feel it rising in you now. That quiet confidence, words forming like rivers carving stone. Reflect on Thomas, a chef whose passion simmered, unspoken in a bustling kitchen. Customers praised flavors, but his ideas for menu revolutions died in doubts. Adopting the Echo Forge, he practiced on staff during lulls. This dish, he'd say, voice steady as simmering sauce, isn't food. It's memory on the tongue. His team gathered closer. Investors followed. Today his restaurants dot the coast, each named for an echo. Resilience, renewaler. Thomas didn't yell his vision, he whispered it eternal. Yet mastery demands vulnerability. Strip away filler, those ums, the hedges of maybe, sort of. They dilute your essence like water in wine. Replace with silence's strength. Record yourself daily. Listen not for perfection, but presence. Does your voice invite trust? Does it stir the spirit? Adjust with kindness, as you'd guide a dear friend. As this chapter draws breath, sense the transformation etching into you. You've learned to craft words not as weapons or walls, but as wings, lifting thoughts into the shared sky. Whispers that echo forever, simple yet seismic. Practice tonight. Let one distilled truth touch someone unexpectedly. Watch worlds shift, but words, potent as they are, dance best when woven with the subtle pull of human hearts. What invisible currents make listeners not just hear, but follow? That's the magnetic realm we'll enter next, in Chapter 3, The Invisible Threads of Influence. Step forward with me. The pull begins. Chapter 3, The Invisible Threads of Influence. Envision a lone spider in the hush of dawn, spinning silk finer than breath across a meadow. Invisible to the hurried eye, those threads catch the first light, trembling with dew, drawing every creature near, not by force but by the quiet miracle of connection. You hold that same power. Influence isn't a shout into the void, It's the subtle weave that binds wills, shifts tides, and births legacies. You've forged your thoughts and honed your words. Now feel those threads extending from your core, touching lives without a single command. What if your presence alone could pull dreams into motion? This is the unseen art awakening in you. Here, in the pulsing center of our path, we uncover influence as the soul's quiet gravity. Not manipulation's crude hammer, but a sacred dance of resonance, where you align hearts without bending them. Sense the hidden currents flowing between us all, shared longings, unspoken fears, the universal ache for belonging. They don't dictate, they harmonize. Influence thrives in this truth. People move toward what mirrors their deepest yearnings. You've witnessed it, a friend's gentle nod, sparking courage, a leader's steady gaze, rallying the weary. Now, step into that role, become the thread that gathers, the light that guides. The essence, mastery of attunement. First, dissolve the barrier of self. Enter their world fully. Match the rhythm of their breath, the tempo of their tales. If they speak in bursts of excitement, let your responses rise like echoes. If sorrow weighs their words, offer silence as your first gift, a space for their truth to unfold. This mirroring isn't mimicry, it's empathy made visible, forging bonds in moments. Then the art of the guiding question, not do this, but what stirs in you when you imagine. Plant the seed, let their soil nurture it to bloom. Breathe into the story of Ronan, a fisherman whose days blurred on waves that yielded nothing but salt and struggle. His crew respected his skill but followed commands with reluctant shrugs. No fire, no unity. One storm-lashed night, lashed to the mast, Ronan saw it. Influence hid in the threads between men, not the ropes binding them. Ashore, he changed. No barked orders. Instead, around the fire, he'd lean in, eyes locking softly. "Javier, what dream pulls at you beyond these nets?" Javier spoke of a boat of his own. Ronan nodded, then shared a memory of his father's quiet gamble on a single voyage. What if we charted that together? No push, just resonant threads wove overnight. Javier mended nets with renewed hands. Others shared visions under stars. When the big catch came, it wasn't forced. It flowed, crew moving as one heartbeat. Ronan's halls swelled, but deeper. Loyalty rooted. He became legend, not for fish, but for awakening theirs. Influence, you see, amplifies when you unveil their light. Holding the mirror steady, make this yours through the ritual of the web. Dawn or dusk, find solitude. Visualize 3 people in your orbit. A colleague, a loved one, a stranger whose path crossed yours. For each, whisper their unspoken thread. What longing lingers in your silence? Then, craft one attuned response, not to fix, but to reflect. I sense that fire in you. What shape does it long to take? Practice aloud, feeling the pull. Tomorrow, release it, live. Watch eyes widen, postures soften, possibilities unfurl. Why does this weave unbreakable webs? Because humans are wired for tribal song. Neuroscience reveals mirror neurons firing in symphony when attunement blooms, trust flooding, like warm rain. Spiritually, it's soul recognition. We influence most when we see the divine spark in another, fanning it gently. Emotion surges here. Joy in their awakening mirrors your own. Feel that expansion, its influence breathing through you, natural as tide to shore. Ponder Sophia, an artist adrift in galleries that praised her work but ignored her vision. Shows came but no movement, no patrons stirred. Embracing the web, she shifted. At her next opening, instead of pitching canvases, she attuned to a hesitant collector, What story aches to live on your walls? He spoke of lost homelands. She mirrored. This piece holds those hills. Connections sparked. He bought 3, then referred others. Sophia's studio thrives. Her influence a quiet current rippling through art circles. She didn't sell. She resonated. Yet true threads demand purity. Shun the snare of self-gain. Influence recoils from hidden agendas like flame from wet wood. Offer value unseen, a timely insight, an earnest listen. Track the weave in a quiet journal. Who leaned closer today? What question unlocked a door? Celebrate the subtle shifts, for they compound into cascades. Obstacles rise, too. Resistance from guarded hearts, your own impatience tugging the silk. Meet them with patience, the spinner's grace. Recall, threads strengthen intention, beauty born from steady hands. As these invisible strands settle into your being, feel the quiet power humming. You've learned to draw near, not by pulling, but by becoming the center others seek. Attunement's gift, worlds align to your rhythm. Practice it now, sense one life tilting toward light. But these threads gain iron strength when rooted in trust's fertile ground, bonds so deep they weather any gale. How do you forge that unbreakable foundation? That's the hearth we'll tend next, in Chapter 4, Building Bridges of Unshakable Trust. Walk the web with me, the bridge beckons. Chapter 4, Building Bridges of Unshakable Trust. Imagine a single ancient oak, roots plunging deep into Earth's secret heart, standing defiant as tempest rage and rivers carve the land. Lightning strikes, winds howl, yet it sways unbowed, because its foundation drinks from hidden streams no storm can sever. That's trust, not a fragile span of words, but roots woven through souls, holding firm when all else crumbles. You've spun invisible threads, now anchor them here, where true influence takes root. What if one act of openness could forge bonds that outlast lifetimes? Feel the ground steady beneath you. This bridge rises now. In this sacred forge of our journey, we craft trust as the bedrock of all mastery. Influence whispers without it. Words scatter like leaves in gale. Pros know, trust isn't earned in grand gestures, but in the quiet courage of revealing your human core. It's the permission slip for hearts to open. The invisible handshake sealing fates. You felt its absence, a conversation skimming surfaces, ideas bouncing off walls of wariness, and its presence. Doors swinging wide, alliances blooming overnight. This chapter plants those roots deep within you, turning every interaction into enduring architecture. The profound key. Begin with your own unshielded truth. Share not the polished trophy, but the scar that shaped it. A misstep owned, a fear confessed, in measured breath. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the first plank laid across the chasm. Time it wisely. After attunement's warmth, when their guard softens, I've stumbled here too, you offer, voice steady as stone. Watch armor melt, reciprocity flows. Then consistency, the daily mortar, small promises kept, a returned call, a followed-through favor. Build spans mile upon mile. Step into the world of Lena, a bridge tender in a riverside village fractured by floods and feuds. Neighbors eyed each other warily. Her warnings of rising waters fell on deaf ears. Isolated, her efforts eroded like banks in current. One eve, as waters lapped high, Lena gathered them not with pleas but presence. Around the fire she shared, "Last spring, fear blinded me. I ignored my own signs, lost a season's harvest. Won't repeat that shadow." Eyes met hers. Stories spilled. She pledged nightly checks. Dawn found her wading first, proving word with deed. Bridges rose, villages joined, hands linking in mud, trust binding faster than ropes. Floods came, they held, Lena's village endured, a name synonymous with salvation, not through force, but roots. Her truth invited theirs, consistency sealed the span. Trust, she learned, multiplies when given first, like seeds in fertile soil. Root this in your life, with the ritual of the keystone. At day's close, select one bridge to tend a strained friendship, a new alliance. Name your vulnerability, a quiet doubt, a past falter. Journal it vivid. When I rushed that choice, it cost me peace. Tomorrow, lay it gently. I've walked this path crookedly before. Here's what I see clearer now. Follow with a micro-promise. I'll circle back by noon. Fulfill it without fanfare. Track in whispers what softened, what strengthened. Feel roots delving deeper. This builds empires because trust awakens the ancient tribal code. Oxytocin surges in shared truths, brains wiring safety in sync. Spiritually, it's soul soil. We thrive when seen wholly. Flaws and fire. Emotion stirs here, relief in release, joy in return. That warmth spreading, it's your bridge taking shape, sturdy as oak. Consider Marco, a potter whose wares gathered dust in markets alive with chatter, but barren of sales. Buyers browsed, unconvinced. He shifted. At stalls, instead of boasts, this bowl cracked in firing taught me patience shapes beauty. Hands reached, tails exchanged. He promised custom glazes by week's end, delivered early. Word spread, his kiln glowed nightly. Marco's market became gathering spot, trust turning clay to community. Purity guards these spans, shun exaggeration. It rusts iron overnight. Authenticity alone endures. Face breaches too apologize swiftly. Specifically, I overpromised there. How can I mend? Resilience forges stronger arches, and nurture across divides. Same roots feed oak and vine entwined. Challenges test, cynics withhold. Your ego resists bearing. Meet with grace, the tender's art. Recall, bridges weather not calm, but crossing multitudes. As roots grip earth's heart, sense the stability surging through you. You forge trust, not as tactic, but truth, vulnerability voiced. Consistency carved. Bonds unbreakable now cradle your influence. Practice one keystone today. Watch worlds connect. Yet, these bridges bear heaviest loads when fueled by the wild rivers within. Emotions harnessed not as floods, but currents propelling forward. How do you channel that inner storm into unstoppable flow? That's the symphony we'll conduct next, in Chapter 5, Emotions, the hidden fuel of mastery. Cross with me. The waters rise. Chapter 5, Emotions, the hidden fuel of mastery. Feel a wildfire igniting deep in your chest, not destruction, but a primal blaze leaping from ember to inferno, devouring doubt and forging paths through impossible dark. That's emotion unleashed, not as chaos caged, but as the raw, radiant engine driving every prose triumph. You've built bridges of trust. Now tap this inner furnace, where fury transmutes to unyielding drive, sorrow to piercing wisdom. What if the storm raging in you right now held the spark to illuminate nations? Breathe it in, your fuel awakens, fierce and alive. At the molten core of our odyssey lies this revelation. Emotions are not enemies to conquer, but allies to orchestrate, like a maestro summoning symphony from strings in turmoil. Prose don't numb the heart, they harness its tempests, directing floods into fertile deltas. This chapter ignites that mastery within you, teaching you to name, navigate, and wield feelings as precision tools. You've sensed their shadow side, anger erupting in regrettable barbs, anxiety paralyzing potential. But flipped, they propel. Joy rallies tribes, resolve carves legacies. Step into this forge, let your inner rivers roar with purpose. The sacred practice begins with the emotional compass. Pause amid the surge, 3 deep breaths, and label it pure. This is fury at injustice. Naming tames, it shifts storm to map. Then alchemize, ask, what service does this demand? Rage at betrayal, channel to fierce protection of boundaries. Fear of the unknown, birth meticulous preparation. Practice the pivot breath. Inhale the raw feel, exhale its highest form. I feel this tremor, now it steadies me. Feel the shift, chaos yields to command. Enter the tale of Aria, a healer in mountain hamlets where whispers of plague stirred panic. Her hands trembled with terror, visions of empty cribs, silenced laughter. Patience recoiled from her shaken counsel. Doubt spread faster than fever. Alone by a rushing stream one dawn, Aria confronted the blaze. Fear, she named it aloud, voice cracking like ice. Then pivoted. You sharpen my sight. She breathed resolve into ritual, mapping herbs with laser focus, voice calming as steady water. To villagers, this chill in me became our shield. Trust returned. Plague retreated. Aria's clinic became sanctuary. Her emotions the unseen salve. Ignite your own alchemy with the ritual of the flame. Midday or midnight, when emotion crests, light a small flame, candle or hearth. Face it squarely. Rage rises. What boundary calls? Speak the pivot. Now you become my shield. Joy bubbling, you rally my circle. Grief pooling, you deepen my empathy. Journal the transmutation, revisit evenings. Tomorrow wield it outward. Intention pause, pivot, respond from power. Watch connections deepen, outcomes bend. This mastery reshapes worlds, because emotions are neural lighting, amygdala flashing, prefrontal cortex channeling into genius. Hormones dance, adrenaline-honed fuels flow states. Dopamine from joy sustains marathons. Spiritually, it's soul fire, divine energy coursing, urging growth through guise of storm. That heat building in you, its mastery stirring, emotions bowing to your baton. Witness Kai, a navigator lost at sea after mutiny tore his crew. Despair crashed like rogue waves, survival flickered dim. Stranded on atolls, he embraced the blaze. Loneliness aches, pivot to self-reliance, fury at betrayers, fuel for ingenuity. He crafted signals from driftwood, rations from sea, signaling ships with mirrored sun. Rescue came, captains sought his lead. Kai's voyages now chart untraveled stars, emotions his north star. Guard this flame's purity. Beware suppression's smoke. It chokes clearer vision, nor let it rage unchecked. Scorching bridges built, balance with anchors, grounding walks, shared confessions. Track patterns in a flame ledger. What emotion recurs, what pivot unlocks. Evolve the orchestra daily. Tempests test. Overwhelm drowns the novice. Impatience skips the pivot. Grace the conductor's poise. Each note, even discord, enriches harmony. As flames dance under your command, feel the surge steadying into unstoppable momentum. You've transmuted inner wilds into wielded wonders, emotions not ruling, but serving your rise. Practice one pivot today, sense power pulsing anew. But this fuel burns brightest when you read the winds others carry, the silent storms etched in flesh and gaze. How do you decipher those hidden tempests to lead with unerring instinct? That's the cipher we'll unlock next, in Chapter 6, Decoding the Language of the Unspoken. Let the flames light the way forward. Chapter 6, Decoding the Language of the Unspoken. See a vast desert at twilight, winds sculpting dunes into whispers of ancient tales, curves rising bold, valleys sinking deep, every shift revealing secrets no voice ever spoke. Your fellow travelers move across this landscape, their bodies etching stories in the sand long before lips part. You've fueled your fire with emotions, now attuned to these silent symphonies, where a glance betrays longing, a shoulder's hunch cries caution. What hidden maps could you read right now, turning strangers into allies with a single knowing nod? The sands part before you. Decode and command the unspoken realm. Deep in this chapter's heart beats the wisdom of silent fluency. True prose converse in the body's native tongue, gleaning truths words dare not utter. This is the sixth sense of mastery, where eyes liquor evasion, hands weave resolve, postures broadcast battles within. We've layered thought, voice, influence, trust, feeling. Here perception sharpens to pierce veils. Imagine entering any room as seer. Tension crackles in clenched jaws, openness blooms in uncrossed arms. This awareness doesn't spy, it connects, honoring the soul's wordless poetry. You've brushed it, a friend's averted gaze, signaling storm, a lover's soft lean inviting deeper shores. Now claim it as your oracle. Unlock this through the gaze cascade. Start with eyes, soul's windows, steady locks, truth, darting veils, deceit, widening sparks, wonder, pupils dilate in desire or dread. Note the spark. Then posture's tale, upright spine claims space, command flowing natural, slump whispers defeat, shoulders rounded like shields, hands dance revelation, open palms invite, fists coil fury, fingers steepled ponder power, feet point to heart's pull, toward you, interest, away, escape. Live it through Nia, a market weaver whose stalls brimmed with color, but emptied of coin. Buyers hovered, touched fabrics, then fled, unseen hesitations chasing them. Weary of guesses, Nia studied the sands of faces. A woman's eyes widened at silk, feet rooted, hands hovering open. Nia leaned mirror-soft. This hue calls to something deep, doesn't it? Sail sealed, a man's jaw tightened, arms crossed, iron. She eased back. Take your time, no rush here. He returned next dawn, buying bolts. Her stall transformed, reeds guiding greetings, silences respected. Village whispered, of Nia's knowing trade swelled. Not magic, but fluency. She danced the unspoken, weaving commerce from cues. Awaken yours with the ritual of the silent scan. In daily crossings, cafe line, meeting circle, pause unseen. Scan cascade, eyes first, then frame, hands feet. Whisper in a note, eyes steady, hands open, welcome awaits. Respond attuned, mirror posture subtly, offer space or spark. Evening, ledger it. What cue unlocked flow, what misread mended. Practice swells intuition, cues crystallizing clear. This power roots in evolution's code. Mirror neurons syncing stances, amygdala flaring at micro-frowns, ancient survival honed to social art. Spiritually, it's heart sight, seeing another's essence beyond mask, fostering unity's glow. Feel the thrill, awareness expanding, connections instant. Behold Elias, a trail guide through wild canyons, where novices faltered. Groups splintered, some charged reckless, others lagged fear-frozen. Elias scanned, a hiker's feet dragged back, eyes downcast. He slowed pace, shared a ridge tale of patient steps, another's chest puffed, stride stumping, gentle redirect, that ridge rewards the steady. Harmony reigned, summits conquered together. Elias's tour's legend, unspoken reads his unseen rudder. Purity tempers this lens. Shun judgment's tint cues inform, not condemn. Culture colors. A bow signals respect, not retreat. Calibrate with questions. Feels right, flex with grace. Overreach blinds. Balance with words confirming reads. Shadows challenge. Distraction dulls sight. Bias clouds glass. Sharpen with breath. Reset gaze pure. Recall. Silent fluency blooms in presence, not haste. As cues unfold like desert blooms under moon, feel your perception piercing deeper, rooms revealing riches. You've mastered the unspoken, reading lives like open scrolls. Apply one scan today. Watch bonds bloom wordless. Yet these silent tongues gain epic voice when bound in tales that transport souls across impossible divides. How do stories etch eternities where facts fade? That's the loom we'll thread next in Chapter 7, Stories That Stick Like Glue. The narrative calls follow. Chapter 7, Stories That Stick Like Glue. Picture a single seed, no larger than a whisper, tumbling into fertile earth during a savage storm. Winds batter, rains lash, yet it cracks open, not in defeat but surrender. Roots plunging defiant, sprout piercing skyward to become the mightiest tree shading generations. That's a story's soul, small, unassuming, yet burrowing deep into memory's marrow, outlasting facts that crumble like dry leaves. You've decoded the unspoken, now unleash narratives that bind hearts eternally. What tale from your life, shared right now, could rewrite someone's destiny? The seed stirs, plant it. Here, at the storytelling hearth of our voyage, we ignite the timeless alchemy, where dry data dissolves, but stories endure as living flame. Pros don't list lessons, they live them through tales that transport, transform, awaken. This chapter arms you with the loom of narrative mastery, crafting arcs that grip souls, etching truths no lecture can touch. You've felt it. A parent's bedtime yarn sparking lifelong dreams. A survivor's account rallying rooms to roar. Facts inform the mind. Stories claim the heart. This is your forge. Turn personal sparks into communal fires. The eternal arc unfolds in 3 sacred beats. The call, the crucible, the crown. Begin with the ordinary soul, yourself or kin, facing a shadowed summons. I walked steady paths until, draw them in. Then the forge fire trial, tempest tests. Doubts devour, yet glimmers persist. Heightened stakes, visceral. Sweat, tears, that gut-wrench of brink. Crowned with quiet triumph, not fanfare but transformed essence blooming, and in that breaking, I found unbreakable light. Keep it yours, authenticity glues eternal. Journey with Leora, a baker whose loaves fed bodies but left spirits hungry. In a grey mill town, customers bought bread, nodded polite, departed unchanged. Her passion for flavors, hints of wild rose, smoked oak, languished unspoken. One market morn, weary of silence, Leora wove her art to a harried mother. I kneaded dough like my days, stiff, routine, until grandmother's letter came. Ashes in the oven from her fire. That loss cracked me. I chased lost recipes through storms, hands blistered. Now each bite carries her spark. The woman wept, bought armfuls, returned with friends. Word fermented like rising yeast. Leora's stall became hearth. Tales drew crowds sharing their crucibles. Bakery thrived. Town softened. Stories her secret leaven, not salesmanship, but soul-sharing. Arcs, gluing lives. Weave yours via the ritual of the seed tale. Twilight hours, harvest one-day moment. Frame the arc. Call what pulled you. Crucible, what broke. Crown, what bloomed. Polish vivid, sights of shattering glass. Scent of rain-soaked resolve. Taste of first victory. Rehearse thrice. Mirror for fire, empty air for flow. Allowed to stars for release. Tomorrow, sow in soil ripe, a chat, a toast. Note the glue, eyes misting, nods deepening, seeds take. This binds, because brains crave narratives cradled. Oxytocin bonds teller to told, cortisol grips in trials, dopamine rewards crowns. Mirror neurons replay your arc in their flesh, memories lodge like roots. Spiritually, stories echo creation song, chaos birthing cosmos, trials forging stars. Feel that pull in your chest, your inner storyteller rising, hungry to connect. Gaze upon Tariq, a cartwright mending wheels in desert crossroads, where travelers bartered dust for passage, wagons fixed, but journeys stalled, fear of sands. Tariq spun arcs by firelight. My father built this cart sturdy, till bandits shattered axle and hope. Stranded, thirst clawing, I lashed wood with fury and prayer. Dawn brought not rescue, but realization. Strength hides in splinters, this wheel turns stronger. Merchants lingered, hired him for caravans. Tariq's forge echoed nights, crossroads bloomed to bazaar. Guard purity, shun embellishment's frost, it snaps trust. Draw from true embers vulnerability glues deepest. Tailor soil for weary gentle crowns, for dreamers bold calls. Shorten for sparks, lengthen for immersion. Storms assail, doubt mocks your arc unworthy. Timing falters, nurture like soil. The seed knows its hour. Recall greatest tales sprout from smallest truths. As your first seed tale settles into memory's rich earth, feel roots delving, canopy spreading. You've mastered narrative glue, arcs that bind beyond time. Share one tonight, witness worlds tilting toward light. But these tales sharpen keenest when aimed with persuasion's invisible bow. Words inviting action, not demanding it. How do prose sway without shoving? That's the arrow we'll loose next, in Chapter 8, Persuasion Without Pushing. The tale points onward. Let it guide. Chapter 8, Persuasion Without Pushing. Envision a gentle river carving through unyielding granite, not with battering rams or thunderous force, but patient flow, slipping into cracks, yielding to stone's resistance, only to reshape it entirely over time. That's persuasion's true art, an invitation that reshapes wills without a whisper of demand. You've glued hearts with stories, now loose this current, drawing others to your vision as naturally as water seeks the sea. What choice in your life, offered this way, could cascade into transformation for many? The river stirs at your feet. Let it flow. In this luminous bend of our path, we master persuasion as service, not siege. The profound shift from pushing agendas to planting possibilities that bloom of their own accord. Prose persuade by elevating souls, aligning desires with destiny's pull. This chapter unveils the triad of timeless currents, reciprocity's gift, social proofs, echo, scarcity's quiet urgency, all wielded with ethical grace. You've known crude sails that repel like oil on water. Now discover the draw that magnetizes. Persuasion thrives when you serve first. Shine light on paths already longed for, creating choice that feels like freedom seas. Unlock the triad's flow. First, reciprocity, the ancient law of return. Offer, pure value unbidden. A tailored insight, a moment's aid, no strings shimmering. The heart responds, compelled to balance scales, not barter, but grace given freely. Second, social proof. The herd's wisdom, share keen who've walked. Others like you found wings here. Not boasts, but beacons. Third, scarcity's shadow. Highlight fleeting windows. This alignment opens briefly, urgency without frenzy, honoring time's gift. Witness Alara, a herbalist in valley markets where remedies lined stalls but trust flowed thin. Buyers eyed leaves warily, coins clutched tight. Ilara pivoted. To a weary farmer, she gifted a sprig unasked. Steep this for your cough, it eased my kin through winter's grip. He returned, jar in hand, traded stories of neighbors healed. 3 families now sleep sound, he shared. Ilara nodded. Rare harvest this season, blends like this won't linger. Farmer bought deep, spread word. Her stalls swelled, not from pressure, but provision. Reciprocity rippling, proof multiplying, scarcity sealing. Channel this triad through the ritual of the gentle current. Facing a sway moment, negotiation, nudge, nurture, prepare 3 offerings. Reciprocity. Here's a path that served me. Try it freely. Proof. Walked it with 2 souls close to yours. Their lights brighter now. Scarcity. This window gleams short what calls. Voice it, soft, eyes holding space. Post-flow, reflect. What returned, what bloomed, unbidden. Evening ledger tracks the river's bend. This sways souls because reciprocity triggers givers glow. Oxytocin binding, dopamine delighting return. Proof taps tribal trust. Ancient brains seeking safety in crowds. Scarcity sharpens value, prefrontal focus narrowing to now. Spiritually, it's cosmic harmony. Persuading aligns wills with greater weave service, echoing universe's abundance. Feel that ease in your breath, the triad humming, ready to pour. Observe Ramon, a bridge builder, amid flood-ravaged hamlets, where villagers shunned new spans, scarred by past collapses. Designs gathered dust. Ramon flowed the currents. To elders first, free sketches. These beams held my home through gales. Proof followed. 2 villages crossed safe last moon. Scarcity whispered. Timbers season only till rains. Hands rose, bridges arched skyward. Ramon's valleys linked, lives flowing free. Persuasion as isline. Purity is the river's spring. Shun deceit, false proof poisons. Greed taints gifts. Ethics alone sustain. Manipulation evaporates like mist. Tailor currents. For skeptics, proof heavy. Dreamers, reciprocity light. Listen first, attune to their channel. Rapids challenge. Resistance stiffens stone, impatience dams flow. Yield like water, circle. Persist soft. Recall. Greatest canyons yield to gentlest streams. As the triad courses through your veins, feel persuasion shifting from force to flow. Invitations accepted as own ideas. Transformations chosen freely. Wield one current today. Watch destinies align. But these currents amplify in multitudes, where one voice ignites legions. How do pros lead crowds not as overlords, but beacons drawing seas to shore? That's the crest we'll summit next, in Chapter 9, Leading Minds, Not Managing Them. The river widens, sail on. Chapter 9, Leading Minds, Not Managing Them. Imagine a lighthouse piercing midnight fog. Its beam not shoving ships to safety, but cutting clear paths through peril. Each vessel choosing its course toward the welcoming glow. No chains, no commands, just light calling to the sea's deep yearning for harbor. That's leadership's essence, igniting collective fire without grasping reins. You've marvered persuasion's flow, now become the beacon drawing multitudes to shared horizons. What vision in you, shone true, could rally souls to reshape worlds? The light kindles. Stand tall. In this soaring pinnacle of our ascent, we embrace leadership as awakening, not overlordship. The sacred art of painting futures so vivid, others claim them as their own. Pros lead by kindling inner flames, fostering unity from diverse sparks. This chapter crowns your toolkit with vision's fire, empowerment's wind, collective stories bond. You've known managers who bark orders, breeding resentment's thorns. Now step into the lighthouse, where influence scales to symphonies. Leadership pulses when you elevate every soul, turning groups into galaxies aligned. The triad gleams, vision shared, power distributed, narratives woven communal. First, paint horizons alive, not dictates, but immersive vistas. Picture us cresting that ridge together, winds of triumph in our sails. Invoke senses, salt spray of challenge dawns gold on victory. Make it theirs. Second, empower wildly, hand quests matching strength. Your keen eye charts this trail, watching ownership bloom. Third, bind with our stories. We face the gorge as one. What legend do we etch next? Inclusion forges unbreakable alloy. Enter the saga of Mira, a flock keeper in windswept highlands, where sheep strayed, herders clashed over scant pastures, whips cracked, yields withered, discord herded them to ruin. Mira shifted to light, at council fire. She evoked, in vision our valleys lush, streams singing for all flocks, your hands tilling richer soil. To young Tomas, restless scout, your swift feet map the hidden springs. Lead that band. Elder Kara, wise in herbs, blend your salves for weary lambs. Guide the healers, then our tale. Together we tamed last blizzard. What green miracle rises now? Flocks thrived, pastures expanded, herders one heartbeat. Mira's highlands bloomed legend. Leadership her quiet beam, not rule, but radiance. Visions pulled, powers flowered, stories sealed. Radiate this through the ritual of the beacon call. Facing gatherings, team huddle, family circle, chance assembly. Summon the triad, vision. Breathe the vista alive, eyes sweeping souls. Empower, assign sparks to flames. Your gift lights this path. Bind, weave our forward, twilight reflect. What eyes ignited, what hands rose, what unity hummed. Dawn renews the light. This scales souls because vision taps reticular activation. Brains hunting proof of painted futures. Empowerment surges agency. Endorphins fueling flow. Our stories sink oxytocin waves, tribes pulsing as one. Spiritually, it's soul constellation. Lights aligning in cosmic dance, each star essential. Feel that lift in your chest. The beacon blazing, multitudes drawn. Survey Lear, a reed weaver in delta villages splintered by floods, boats adrift, nets empty. Commands failed, lame swirled. Lear lit vision, see our deltas thriving, boats laden, children dancing on full quays. To netmender sail, your knots hold strongest. Design the new weave, boat carver Una. Shape hulls for deeper yields, helm that crew. Our bond, we bridged last torrent. What abundance do we harvest? Waters turned bounty, villages wove as kin. Lear's deltas prospered, beacon eternal. Purity fuels the flame. Shun ego's eclipse. Light serves, not spotlights. Visions ring true from heart's forge. Empower without micrometers. Trust the entrusted. Tales honor all voices. Gales test. Apathy dims beams. Conflicts scatter ships. Hold steady, renew vision, re-empower, retell our rise, recall. Lighthouses endure by unwavering glow. As multitudes align to your light, feel the symphony swelling, visions claimed, powers unleashed, stories sung collective. You've transcended management to true leading. Kindle one beacon today. Watch horizons unite, yet beacons sharpen brightest through relentless self-gaze, polishing facets till they pierce any shadow. How do pros audit souls to eternal edge? That's the mirror, awaiting. In Chapter 10, The Mirror of Self-Mastery. The light reflects inward, gaze deep. Chapter 10, The Mirror of Self-Mastery. Gaze into a still mountain lake at dawn, its surface a flawless silver shield reflecting not just peaks and sky, but the raw, unfiltered truth of your own silhouette, every strength etched bold, every shadow laid bare, demanding you see and claim what stares back. No hiding, no haze, just you, confronting the architect of your triumphs and stumbles. You've led multitudes outward, now turn this mirror inward, where pros polish their edge to lethal clarity. What truth about yourself, faced unflinchingly today, could shatter chains and unleash your untapped reign? The water's clear. Look deeper. Here, in the introspective sanctum of our expedition, we forge self-mastery, as the unyielding core sustaining all prior arts, the relentless audit, turning potential to precision. Pros don't drift on autopilot. They interrogate their instrument daily, honing blade against stone till it parts silk. This chapter hands you the mirror's ritual, journaled reckoning, fearless feedback, ego-dissolving adaptation. You've inspired worlds, now master the one within, where unchecked blind spots birth downfall. Self-mastery whispers. True power flows from radical honesty, transforming flaws to fuel, plateaus to peaks. The mirror's triad gleams merciless. Reckoning's probe, feedback's forge, adaptation's alchemy. First, nightly reckoning, pen to page, dissecting the day's forge. What ignited flow? What snagged the thread? Where did I shine? Where dim? No mercy, no gloss. Raw data as sacred text. Second, summon mirrors external. Seek truth-bearers, trusted kin, candid allies, with open plea. Where did I falter? What unseen strength gleams? Receive without armor. Third, alchemize, pivot insights to action. That hesitation. Now I breathe bold entry. Cycles compound. Mastery crystallizes. Breathe the journey of Soren, a falconer whose birds soared skies, but his counsel clip wings in village councils. Eagles wheeled true under his hand, yet words tangled, influence waned. Counselors dismissed his skies for safer earth. One twilight, talons gripping perch, Soren shattered his haze. Nightly he reckoned. Today my paws rid weak, passion drowned in ifs. He sought the elder huntress. Lyra, where does my flight stumble? Her blade, you soar alone, land with us. We crave shared winds. Adaptation dawned. Blend aerial vision with grounded tales. Councils shifted. Soren's council crested like thermals. Villages, hunting as one. Falcons mirrored his rise, mastery from mirror. Not overnight blaze, but steady polish. Reckoning carved clarity. Feedback honed edge. Adaptation loosed full wingspan. Claim this triad in the ritual of the unforgiving glass. Dusk claims your hour. Ledger opens. Reckon. 3 sparks, 3 snags. Vivid, visceral. Summon one mirror tomorrow. Paint my blind arcs true. Absorb, unblinking. Dawn alchemizes. One pivot sworn. Hesitation dies, presence reigns. Weekly weigh, what facets gleam brighter. Monthly invite fresh eyes, feel the edge sharpening, your reflection evolving, fierce and flawless. This elevates empires because reckoning rewires neural maps, prefrontal clarity pruning amygdala fog. Feedback floods growth hormones, adaptation sparks neuroplastic fire. Spiritually, it's soul reckoning, divine spark demanding polish, shadows transmuted to luminescence, that resolve hardening in you. The master, emerging, mirror forged. Witness Talia, a stream guardian mending weirs, where fish dwindled, villagers blaming rains not rot. Her warnings washed away, nets emptied. Mirror called, reckoning revealed, my certainty deafened their fears. Feedback from fisherkin. You guard alone, invite our hands, pivot. We mend as watershed. Weirs held, salmon surged, village thrived, Talia's guardianship legend. Mirror turned solitary sentinel to symphony conductor. Purity steals the glass. Shun self-lies, they fog truth. Feedback demands humility's nakedness, wield without grudge. Adapt ruthlessly, stagnation slays. Balance with grace. Celebrate facets agleam, lest mirror mock. Storms cloud. Ego recoils from glare. Isolation starves fresh eyes. Polish persists, breath clears haze. Alliances renew light. Recall, clearest reflections birth brightest dawns. As mirror truths etch into your core, feel self-mastery surging, reckonings revealing realms, feedback fueling flight. Adaptations ascending endless. You've claimed the inner throne. Audit one facet tonight. Watch empires bend to your clarity. But thrones endure through rituals etched in bone, daily disciplines, sculpting prose from clay. How do elites forge unbreakable rhythms, sustaining the summit? That's the anvil awaiting in Chapter 11, Habits of the Elite Thinker-Speaker. The reflection sharpens. Forge on. Chapter 11, Habits of the Elite Thinker-Speaker. Witness a master swordsmith at forge's heart. Hammer falling not in frenzy, but sacred rhythm, strike, temper, quench, each motion etching patterns invisible to the eye, transforming raw ore into blade that sings through air, parting foes without effort. That's the elite's secret. Not bursts of brilliance, but rituals carved into bone, day upon unrelenting day. You've mirrored your mastery. Now etch it eternal through habits that sculpt gods from mortals. What single rhythm, begun this dawn, could wield your full dominion? The anvil glows, swing true. In this climactic crucible of our saga, we distill habits as the invisible sinew binding all prior mastery, the daily disciplines turning fleeting sparks to everlasting flame. Pros don't will their edge, they ritualize it, forging neural highways where excellence flows automatic. This chapter imprints your elite cadence, dawn's clarity forge, twilight's victory ledger, encircling sharpeners, streaks unbreakable chain. You've glimpsed chaos yielding to command. Now automate the ascent, habits humming like heartbeats, sustaining summits. Elites rise not by chance, but chisel. The quartet resounds. Dawn visualizes blaze. Evening audits scalpel. Ally forges whetstone. Momentum's sacred streak. Dawn, 10 breaths. Envisioning triumphs visceral. Feel podiums roar. Boardrooms nod. Crowds surge. Twilight, ledger 3 victories, 3 refinements. Sparked unity there, softened edge here. Allies, curate 5 sharpeners. Tomes whispering wisdom, mentors mirroring truth. Silences birthing insight. Streaks, chain 1 habit daily. Unbroken links compound to legend. Live the forge of Kale. A harbor pilot whose ships danced waves but cargoes lagged. Captains doubting his stars. Storms tossed trust, ledgers bled. Cale anvil called dawn, eyes shut, he sailed perfect gales, ropes taut, winds allied. Twilight ledger held steady in squall, rushed signal next, sharpeners gathered. Nautical scrolls by bunk, grizzled captain for supper tales, solitary deck walks, berthing hunches. Streak, one dawn vision unbroken. Ships swiftened, harbors hailed Cale legend. Habits his unseen rudder. Hammer these into flesh via the ritual of the eternal cadence. Carve dawn altar, quiet corner, timer set. Visualize one triumph, sensory flood. Adrenaline's rush, victory's taste. Twilight sanctum, ledger pen flows unjudged. Ally audit weekly, who whets my blade sharpest? Streak visible, calendar links, no skips. Dawn 1, chain begins, feel the rhythm pulse, habits weaving you unbreakable. This catapults to elite realms because repetition rewires basal ganglia, habits autopilot, freeing genius, dopamine chains, streaks, cortisol fades in ritual's cradle. Spiritually, it's soul rhythm, cosmic pulse aligning mortal beat, discipline echoing eternity's forge, that steadiness rooting in you. The elite cadence quickening, inevitable. Behold, Sana, a vine tender in terraced hills, where grapes soured, yields mocked. Winters scorned her touch. Cadence dawned, sunrise visions of barrels brimming amber, soil rich underfoot. Evening scalpel, pruned bold watered hasty, sharpeners, ancient grower journals, moonlit soil whispers, elder winter's hearth yarns, streak chained dawn vigils. Vines surged nectar, hills sang Sana's wine, habits her vintage root. Purity tempers steel, shun dilution, habits pure, no half strokes. Streaks snap, restarts and shame, anvil welcomes, allies true, drain no hone only. Balance fire, rest weaves strength into steel. Furnace tests, sloth dulls, hammer, chaos breaks chain. Rekindle with wise blaze, envisioned end glory. Recall, finest blades birth from hottest fires. As rhythms etch into your marrow, feel elite pulse surging, dawns igniting, audits ascending, allies amplifying, streaks soaring endless. You've forged the unbreakable cadence. Chain one link tonight, empires await your swing. Yet even anvils yield to finale's fire, where all threads converge, crowning your pro-reign. What ultimate synthesis launches you legendary? That's the summit calling, in our closing section, the finale. The hammer falls final, rise. Chapter 12. The eternal flame of integration. Stand atop a wind-swept peak, at world's edge, where every path you've climbed converges in one breathtaking vista, valleys of thought carved deep, rivers of words rushing wild, threads of influence shimmering like stars below, all fueling a single, undying flame roaring from your core. This isn't summit, it's synthesis. You've forged every tool, now ignite them, as one becoming the pro whose presence alone reshapes realities. What if, in this breath, you fused all into unbreakable power, legends bending to your light? The flame leaps, claim it whole. Here, in the crowning crucible of our odyssey, we integrate every layer into seamless mastery, the profound fusion where thinking blueprints speech influence, weaves trusts bridges, emotions fuel stories, persuasion leads multitudes, self-audit etches habits eternal. Pros don't wield fragments, they orchestrate symphonies, each note amplifying the whole. This chapter seals your transformation, the unity ritual binding all, living legacy moments where skills cascade, lifelong guardianship of the flame. You've journeyed realms apart. Now merge them into dominion undivided. Integration births immortals. The sacred weave demands daily fusion. Dawn's holistic vision, envision full cascade. Thoughts crystal, words thundering, influence pulling tides. Midday application. In every exchange, scan unspoken cues, attune emotionally, story bind, persuade gently, lead emergent, twilight synthesis ledger. Where did layers align? Where gaps yawn? Weekly, legacy forge, select one arena, meeting, hearth, venture, deploy full arsenal, witness ripple. This isn't checklist, it's alchemy. Skills melting into instinct. Enter the epic of Riven, a crossroad storyteller, whose tales enchanted lone ears, but gatherings scattered like leaves. Solitary sparks faded, no movement stirred. Integration called dawn visions, fused all mind-mapping epic arcs, voice echoing pauses, potent threads attuning listeners' silent storms. In village square he scanned elder hunched in grief's shadow, youth's eyes darting dreams. Emotional pivot, his own loss shared vulnerable. Story arc bloomed. We wandered parched till hidden spring called. Persuasion flowed. What if our wells together? Leadership lit. Your wisdom charts. Youth digs. Habits chained nightly ledgers. Squares swelled symphonies. Villages united wells. Festivals. Riven's crossroads became beacon crossroads. Integration his eternal torch. Not isolated arts, but unified blaze. Thought birthed word, emotion deepened story, trust sealed lid, legacy woven whole. Ignite your fusion through the ritual of the unified flame. Carve sacred hour thrice weekly, dawn weave, one scenario, all layers vivid. I think clear, speak thunder, influence unseen, mid-encounter, pause breath. Layers checklist inner scan, attune, story, persuade, twilight ledger cascades. Alignment sparked what shift. Legacy weekly, real arena full deploy. Track flames, ripples compounding. Feel the wholeness surging, symphony stirring soul deep. This crowns mastery because integration forges superfluid neural nets. Skills firing holistic, prefrontal genius unbound. Oxytocin floods unified bonds. Dopamine cascades in layered triumphs. Spiritually, its soul wholeness. Fragments reuniting divine spark. Eternal flame mirroring creation's unity. That blaze warming your core. Integration awakening. You reborn pro. Now gaze upon Elowen, a tideweaver mending coastal nets where storms shredded bonds. Fish fled, solos failed, clans feuded, flame unified, dawn fused visions of bountiful seas. In council cave, decoded slumped shoulders despair, pivoted her tide loss to empathy bridge. Story wove, waves took my kin's boat, we rebuilt from splinters. Persuasion gifted net knots free, proof in neighbors' halls, led, your knots strongest helm the weave. Habits audited nightly unison, seas yielded bounty, coasts kin forged. Iloan's tides legend, unified flame her compass eternal, purity fans highest. Shun silos, layers interlock or dim. Fusion demands courage, full arsenal bears soul naked. Grace gaps, evolution eternal, balance blaze, solitude recharges wholeness. Tempests rage, overwhelm fragments flame, doubt dims weave, rekindle dawn visions, ledger truths anchor, recall, greatest fires birth from focused ember. As layers fuse into your eternal flame, feel the prose surging seamless, thought to thunder, influence infinite, mastery undivided. You've integrated immortally. Deploy full cascade today. Universes yield. You've scaled every peak, forged every tool. Now carry this flame into every dawn, every word, every world. The symphony crescendos eternal. Speak it, live it, become